Hello all, hope you're well. We're getting close to football possibly coming back soon, so keep an eye out for that. I might somehow manage to be at a football match and to tell you what I thought about it, and you'll maybe get to watch it yourselves as well. But in the meantime, as I said, I hope you're all good. We've been continuing with the On The Ball podcast, of course, during the break over on all of your podcast feeds, but also over at The Athletic. And a couple of weeks ago, our latest Canaries Chain Gang member was Mr. David Fox. So it was great speaking to him. Also played a part in me being able to talk to him about the 7-1 defeat to Colchester. Of course, David Fox was in that Colchester side. And not only did Paul Lambert make the switch, but a season later, so did David Fox and became a Norwich player. So a lovely story there. You can hear a bit of that chat now with David Fox. We managed to take some video, so you can enjoy that now. And you can also listen to the full podcast on all your normal podcast players. It is free to listen to. You just need to search for the On The Ball podcast. And of course, if you fancy reading my stuff over at The Athletic, you can do that too. I'm sure you'll be able to find out how and where to do that. And if you listen to the podcast, there's a code for a free 30-day trial, and I'll also put the link in the description here now. But other than me apologising for the continued abandon of my hair, I hope you enjoyed this chat with David Fox, who, by the way, is a genuinely lovely bloke. I've got a lot of time for him. He was a pretty good footballer as well, wasn't he? Obviously, been at Blackpool for a fair amount of time and other clubs before you got to Norwich. Can you remember how that move came about and when you thought it was going to happen?
Well, yeah, I was at Colchester for a year under Paul Lambert. So obviously Paul Lambert signed me at Colchester. So I remember meeting him. My first impressions of him was he was someone that played in my position. So I was thinking, right, it'd be great for me, something to learn of. He's, unbelievable playing career himself. So I thought it'd be perfect for me to go and, someone who knows my position really. So I thought, right, brilliant, Colchester. And then he left after 2 games. So that was like, wow, brilliant. So
I can't remember what that was about, but yeah, carry on.
There was a few chain of events that led him to leave after a couple of games. And then I didn't really play much after that for Colchester. I wasn't A.D. Boothroyd's cup of tea when he come in. One of the games I did play was the 5-1 at Colchester. I actually played in that one, which was I don't think I played money after that. But yeah, I wasn't really his cup of tea. So I was leaving Colchester that summer. I think Huddersfield might have been an option. And then Paul Lambert come in and wanted to sign me again at Norwich, which I was, they'd just been promoted, gone from not playing at Colchester to having a chance to sign for a club in the Championship. And it was amazing how it all sort of fell into place, really. And as soon as I knew that he was interested again, I was only ever going to, I literally just drove up that day, I think, and went and met him.
Did you come across many Norwich players before you arrived at the club in terms of ones you'd play with? You must have some good stories of a few.
I knew Wes. I'd had a couple of years at Blackpool with Wes, so that was good to know.
What was he like then?
He was brilliant. He was as a player, as a lad. He honestly, I had 2 years at Blackpool, 4 years at Norwich with him, and he's just different class. Everything about him is just hilarious. He cracks me up. Playing wise, he's absolute magician. We used to joke about it at Blackpool because he'd never. We used to train right by the airport, so Monday mornings he'd never be there at 10:30 when we were starting, and then the EasyJet flight from Dublin would come in at about 11 o'clock. Would land, and we were like, right, here's Wes. So he'd come, pick his bags up, come running round. Sorry lads, just got back, and then we'd start training again. So we'd have to wait for Wes's flight to land first, and you'd see him coming in on about 10:30.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, he couldn't drive. So he used to cycle into training.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
right?
But he turned up on trial at Blackpool, and no one really knew who he was. Small guy. It looked like he had a nice little left foot about him. Then he come on pre-season with us, and he just tore the games up like you wouldn't believe. He was he played left wing. He played left wing for us, but he'd just go everywhere. And we got promoted from League One that season, and he was instrumental in that. He was different class. How we managed to get him on a free some signing we had at Blackpool. So I knew Wes, and I knew Holty. Holty had come to Blackpool for 3 months on loan. So I knew Holty, but other than that,
was that one of his good loans or one of his bad loans?
I don't think he got on great with Simon Grayson. I think he stuck him out on the wing for a few times, and he weren't too happy with that. So I saw the moody Holty for a few months. I knew them two lads personally, and then obviously I knew, you know the names of a lot of the boys, and it was good. I think there was myself, Elliot Ward, Andrew Sermon, Crofty. We all stayed at the Holiday Inn. We all signed around the same time. We were all in the Holiday Inn at the same time. So all the new lads sort of got to know each other and sort of belted each other out when we joined.
It's nice how the new signings all sort of stay at the Holiday Inn before. And I think 12 months earlier, it was the same case with all of Norwich's new signings. About 8 or 9 of them were still at the Holiday Inn when they played Colchester. So we should probably get into this. And for those listening, there will be a big piece on The Athletic about an oral history of the remarkable events of the 7-1 defeat for Norwich. Most of the angles from a Norwich perspective, of course, but given David, you were on the pitch on the other side, I think it's opportune that we talk about it as well. And plus, I want to speak to someone who has more fond memories of it than some of the people I've spoken to. But can you remember the build up to that game and what you guys were kind of looking to do, I suppose, heading into it? Because Paul you'd been good under Paul the previous season, hadn't you? And there was a proper foundation going into that League One season.
Yeah, we had a lot of new players ourselves. To be fair,
don't say that. That's one of the excuses.
we had a new goalie and new centre half. Myself, we had a few new players as well. I don't think we had nowhere near as many as Norwich, but he got a few in that he wanted, and like I say, he made a few signings, got rid of a few that he weren't happy with, and I think everyone always looks forward to the first game of the season. It's brilliant. All your training and everything that's gone into it, you just want the first game of the season, and for us, it was the biggest game of the season for not only us, but I think all of League One was. League One was Norwich away. It was guaranteed 28,000, whatever. They sold out, or they'd fill up a lot of the stadium, and it was a lot of people's cup final, really. And I don't think we were any different. But we had a lot of time to prepare for it. We had training. You know who you're playing probably about a month in advance. So we knew we were playing Norwich away, first game of the season, and that was all we planned for, really. We knew how to hurt Norwich. We knew that we'd sit back at times and soak up pressure, and we had a real game plan for the game because we had time to prepare for it. It wasn't like it was a Tuesday night where you're rolling off game after game. We had a good few weeks preparing for this game that was massive for us, and it was real good preparation. I think and then obviously working under Paul Lambert again. We went to this at Norwich. We went to the same place we did at Colchester. We did pretty much exactly the same pre-season, same preparation, and it was, and then we hit the ground running again. And I think there was a place in Cologne we used to go. I've been there, every pre-season under him, and we were doing the same runs and the same. But it was what he did for his preparation, and we done great in the year at Colchester under him, and the 2 at Norwich. We started the seasons well and hit the ground running, really.
Oh yeah, just a bit. Yeah. Can you? I mean, presumably, did you come up the night before? And
no, we travelled on the day.
Okay.
One of the closer ones. Yeah, I think we travelled.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I think we had pre-match. I remember at the ground at about 9, 10 o'clock, something like that. I can't remember the exact time, but I know we had food at the ground. And then I think it was only 45 minutes or so. But I'd played at Norwich a couple of times before, definitely once before. For Blackpool, so I loved playing there the last time, and it was a great for us at the time in League One. It was the best place to go and play football, really. I think Southampton had a decent. Obviously, they had the St Mary's. Sorry, but yeah, I'd say Carrow Road was the one where, especially in League One, everyone wanted to go and play there. So yeah, I remember the lads were really excited for it, and we didn't know the team or anything like that, so I didn't know if I was playing until 1:45. I don't think anyone did, and we had real competition for places, and we were a real mix and match throughout the pre-season. So it was, as soon as he said you were playing, you were buzzing. But I had no idea I was playing until just before kickoff.
Ah, wow. Which again was very different to Norwich, I think. What was it like? What was it like walking out or in the warm-ups? I mean, I'm kind of curious, I suppose, at what point it felt like it was going to be a bit of a memorable occasion.
Yeah, I wouldn't say till half time where he actually thought, wow. But during the game, it just all seemed to happen so fast. I remember under pressure for the first sort of 15, 20 minutes. Wow. And they started really well. Yeah. 10. They started really well. I'm not, like I said, I've not seen the game back. But in my head, what I think is that we're under a little bit of pressure and thought decent and a big pitch. And I remember, I can't remember who was playing out wide.
That'd be Simon Whaley, I think.
Simon Whaley. Yeah, I know he had a lot of pace, direct. So I remember they were switching the play well, but we worked on that. We worked at shuffling across, and we were prepared for how the expansive way they were playing. And yeah, it wasn't till sort of half time, I think, we go in scratching your head, sort of thinking what's going on. But yeah, it was a strange half of football. And because obviously for myself, it's my debut as well for Colchester, so I'm wanting to try and make an impression. And I'd had a struggle for the last sort of few months at Blackpool, not really got much of a game, so I'm thinking, right, fresh start, I want to do well. And it's coming at half time 5-0 up. I don't think no one expected that.
That's not bad, is it?
It's not a bad start, no.
Can you remember the first goal?
Who scored that? Was it the goal? Was it the mistake?
Yeah, it was John Otsemobor's sort of looping back pass, and Michael Theocritos rushed sort of came out.
I do remember. I remember Simon Hackney, who was playing left wing for us. I remember he blocked a ball from Otsemobor, and that was something we worked on, putting pressure towards the halfway line, putting real pressure on them. Yeah, he managed to block it, put pressure on them, and then I don't know what happened. The keeper, he's come out, and that was 1-0, wasn't it? Yeah, I do remember it now. I can picture it now. But and then I think all the 5 goals must have come within 15 minutes or 20 minutes of that. Must have. Yeah,
well, your free kick was 22nd minute, I think, 23rd minute, and that was 4.
That made it 4.
Yeah.
As early as that, the goal? Yeah, I didn't realise it was early as that minute.
So he scored 4 goals in the first quarter of the game, basically.
That's right. But I think we probably only had 4 or 5 attempts. I think can't have had many more than that. And I think it just everything sort of just happened. And I was quite lucky, really, because we had a free kick before that, and it was a bit further out, and it was me or Dean Hammond was on the free kicks. So he was first one. He was captain. He was like, right, I'm having this, and I think he put it in Rose Ed. So then the next one came, my one came, and it was a bit closer in, and it was perfect for me. And obviously he just put one in Rose Ed, so I'm thinking, right, I'm having this one. And obviously lucky for me, it's gone in, and to score on your debut for your club and to sort of do it, to put yourself 4-0 up, and it was brilliant. It was an unbelievable feeling, really.
It was a brilliant free kick. Any question marks over the goalkeeping?
Yeah. I got hammered off a lot of the lads saying that there is no. It went in the middle of the goal. It was like it went in the middle of the goal. I think Laps always hammers me about it. He says it was rubbish. And it got in the middle of the goal. But I'm thinking I'm David Beckham for 1 minute, and then I'm watching back and I'm thinking, he probably could have caught it. But I had acres of space to it. I had a lot of space to it. I think he was a bit further across than he should have been, and I had a lot of space to it. And that's what you practice for, really, for things like that. And I think it was after that goal where the 2 season tickets come on, and it all sort of kicked off a bit. I remember
That was 10 seconds. It was literally straight after the goal. Can you?
Exactly.
Can you remember what? Because that just doesn't happen, does it? I mean, even now, I can't think of it happening since.
No, I do remember it happening because I think there was a break in play, and I think everyone just sort of had to take a deep. I certainly had to just take a breath, really, and think, what the hell's going on? Because, like I say, was it 23 minutes? You're 4-0 up, and there's fans throwing season tickets on the pitch. It's just to think about it now, really. When you're saying the words, it just sounds mad, with all the hope and expectation that you have going into a season, I'm sure. And then for those fans to feel that was enough's enough. I mean, I don't know. To be fair, even in my time at the club, I never heard much about what happened, or because obviously if they got banned, they'd probably missed out on a hell of a lot in the next few years. But I honestly don't know what happened. But I felt for Gunny, and I didn't know him at the time, but from speaking to people since, and everyone how much respected he was, I don't think that was really fair on him for that. And it was just frustration, really, that a season that probably promised so much, which ultimately delivered. But I mean, for the first 25 minutes, it was just a disaster.